impromptu video today. This is going to be kind of patched together. It's going to be a complete mess because I didn't think about doing the video till after I had already taken things apart. So you're going to see the cluster. It's not going to make sense why one cluster's in and then another cluster's in and then there's another cluster. Just go with the flow. I'm trying to just kind of show folks who don't know how to remove the cluster, how to remove the cluster. How do you remove this outer bezel? Actually, I did it while I was driving home sitting at a traffic light because I used my Leatherman tool to pull these Phillips screws out that you see. Got one here and we've got one here. There's just the two, and then there are clips down here and over here on the other side that hold it in. So then once you do that, easiest thing to do is you kind of grasp it and you pull it forward slightly and then gently reach down in here. I gotta remember how I did it. I just poop and it was done. Now see, now I'm trying to be instructional and careful, and there we go. Pop and pop. Okay, those are those little clips. Careful, wiggle to get it out from around the column. That's how you get it out. Just had to go to Emissions and they started a new rule. If they check your car and they can't get it to display the check engine light, you will auto fail. Well, as we all know, when you put in a Torrent cluster, you don't get a check engine light on the VUEs. So I had to do a quick swippy swap to go past Emissions. With your surround, there are two Phillips screws that are in, they're right up here. That's what they line up to. You'll see me reinstall them, but see, there it is right there. Yeah, that goes in there, and then you just gently pull this bezel forward. It's got little clips, just these little plastic guys that align it, and then your main clips are down at the bottom. So you're going to pop it and then just kind of pull it forward gently so that you're not getting hung up on that plastic surround here. I try not to take those out because they have little teeny plastic clips down in here that sometimes break with age. This is the bezel. These are the little clips that are on either side. It's got that little foam piece in there and these little aligning plastic guys. Go ahead and swap your cluster. You have a 7mm, yep, 7mm here. You have one right back here. You have one here, right back there is your fourth one. And they're this. Now this is the 04. You may get Phillips or, you know, T15s. There could be a variety of fasteners. But basically you're going to undo those guys, and then you can pull your cluster out. So let me go ahead and I'm going to take these two that I had just temporarily installed just to pass Emissions out. But you see, you just loosen them up like so. No big deal. Be right back with you. When you get them all the way loose, you can kind of stick your finger back there and hold it like that as you pull it out, so that you won't drop it. That's a little trick. All right, with all the fasteners removed, like I say, with this in, it's a little bit of a tight fit, but you basically pull it forward to release the electrical that's back there. You see that? Right back in there, you have your electrical plug. And then you are going to, I found that if I kind of dip it this way, I can carefully work it out. Granted, this is a lot harder with one hand than it is with two. There we go. And since this is an on the side of the road kind of deal, I don't have a tripod with me. But you kind of give her a little wiggle wiggle. And then voila. You have your prize. Yeah, that's the OEM one. I also have the Redline one in here. I tried to put it in, but it displayed the car with the wrench in it. I don't know why that is. I'll drop an overlay of that picture in to show y'all. But here is the Torrent one. You can see all its little part numbers. Sorry, they're upside down, but you see it does say Saturn. So I don't know why these don't want to display the the check engine light. But you just kind of put it in there, wiggly, 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 till you get it lined up. I try and drop this, do it the opposite of how I took it out. Dropping that right corner in first, see, kind of cockeyed like that, so that you can get that ear behind. And then just kind of work it, and it usually locates itself. All right, and then you just push it in place till you feel that electrical go in, and then you're going to throw your screw on the ground very dramatically. All that, and I didn't even have the tool ready. You're going to carefully aim for the hole without dropping it. And you're going to do that on all those guys. I'm just doing this to work, and I'm just going to install the two like I did before. Okay, we're officially back in business for the ride to work. But you can see when you first key it on, you don't get a check engine light. So that's what the issue was for emissions. All right, but we're back in, so at least I'm properly functioning. The other one, the cluster lights aren't all illuminated, so it's a pain in the butt, and I don't feel like dealing with intermittent issues on the way to work. Take care. All right, I did not have time at lunch to finish. Things just did not work out. It was a busy day. So I'm doing it now that I've gotten home from work. So our third fastener, the 7mm, is right down there. So I'm gonna have to grab that guy and get him in there. And I don't know that I can hold y'all and do that. Little bit of finagling. There we go. Problem is keeping it where y'all can see it and where I can do it. Getting it in there. Because every time I look to make sure y'all are in frame, I move it and the headlamp is on my head, and so then the light changes and it just becomes a whole kit and caboodle. Okay. Sorry for the lighting situation, but I need to have my hand there. All right, so he's your fourth and final one up in the right top corner all the way to the back. That was so annoying. Okay, so that was our last one that we put in. You got your one there, and your one up there. That's all four. Now we have to put our surround back on. All right, let's see if this angle works better for installing. You're going to want to drop it in. You're going to be careful of the stem on your gauge cluster there. And it's just a little bit of finagling and wiggling to get it past. Hopefully my hand wasn't all up in your way, but you see you kind of have it like that and you drop it down. Once you clear this, it'll kind of drop in place. Make sure everything looks like it's square, and then you should just be able to push those two little clips in. The clip's on right in there. No big deal. Then we take our Phillips that came out. We run these bad boys back in. Get one started. Come over here, get your other one. And these stubbies are a lot easier to use than a full size because you'd be all up in here. So if I've said stuff repetitive in this video, I apologize. Again, this was a bunch of edits filmed at a bunch of different times in the day, different levels of frustration due to stuff that was going on. So just be gentle. Plastic, plastic, plastic. Do not over torque this stuff. Be gentle. All right, so now that's the simple process to swapping out a cluster. So you can do it, if you do it like I did, pull it out, put it back in, have it done in 10 minutes. Trying to run video and get all the perfect frames, of course, makes it a little bit more difficult. And there those are right there. So, easy peasy. All right, you guys. Since I did it, I just shared it. It's probably remedial and most of y'all don't care, but... and just for frame of reference, there you go. That is your Torrent cluster. I think this one came out of an 06. It might be 06, 07, and then 08 they went to a digital one. You cannot use the digital one. But if it looks like this, you can run it. But again, you're not going to have a check engine light. This is your OEM one that's in the 04 up. That's just your standard one that you will have in a Vue. The 02 and 03 were black, if I remember rightly. The Redlines came with this fancy little guy. And the Equinox is a black one, but it's not the same black one that is used in the early Vues. And I don't know anything about 2008 and up, but I do know it's not compatible. And I don't know about compatibility between Equinoxes and all that on those later models. No clue. But yeah, but those are your three main clusters that you'll see people running these again. And then the fourth one is the black one that comes in it. And I don't know the difference. I mean, I don't have an example of the Equinox one to show you guys. I may pick one up eventually, but at 40 bucks a pop, that gets a little expensive just to have them laying about. So I had to go to Emissions today, this morning, and for whatever reason in Georgia, they're getting really weird about stupid little finicky things with the emissions. You can have a pending code as long as it's not actually a stored code, and they'll pass you if there's only one. So yay there, that helps. But they are now visually inspecting to make sure that when you put your key on and you put it to the run position, it displays your check engine light. Let me show you that again. Check engine light on these cars is right up here. Not the one you're going to see illuminate. That's not the one they're looking for. They're looking for the actual check engine light. And as you can see, it does not illuminate on the Torrent cluster. That's a known issue with these cars when you swap over to the Torrent cluster. So that was an auto fail for me. Fortunately, I know the guy. He knows I don't do shady stuff, and since it's a new rule change, he told me it was fine. If I wanted to go get the other cluster, I tried to explain it has some issues with the lights. And if I say this again later in the video, I apologize. I don't remember what I said when and where. But long story short, I had to go back to the OEM cluster right there that came in the Vue that I swapped out because I didn't like the illumination on it. I prefer not only the look of the Torrent one, the black and the gray, but it has all the red lights. So I like it better. It's just a personal thing. And I keep my code reader in the car and check it periodically. So it's not a big deal that the check engine light doesn't illuminate. Now, the only other thing is I wanted to put the Redline cluster in here. Well, I tried to put the Redline cluster in here and it put up a, I'll roll it in, but there's a little car with a wrench in it. As soon as I put the cluster in, it displayed it and wouldn't go away. It stayed on. Now, I don't know why it stayed on in the Redline cluster. Maybe it's because that was out of an 06, 07 and this is an 04. Maybe there's a BCM thing. It could be something to do with the transmission because I think they are, the shift points are a little bit different and the cluster may have noticed, although I don't know why the cluster... Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's just say it illuminated. The cluster could be foobar. I don't know.